Hey, welcome back to SoberNow.com. I'm Jim LaPierre. Today I want to talk to you about transforming survival skills into skills that improve your quality of life. And this is something that I don't often hear talked about. Surviving trauma, surviving addiction, growing up in unsafe families, they teach us a certain skill set. And we use those skills to minimize harm, we use them to protect ourselves. And for most of us, there's skills that we'll use in active addiction, there's skills we'll use when things are chaotic or unsafe in our lives, and there are even skills that we'll use for other people's benefit even when everything's okay. But for most of us, we don't really make the transformation to using those skills for our own benefit, to improve our own quality of life. And so I want to talk about some of the most prominent ones and how those can be changed into things that improve our quality of life. The first one is hypervigilance. So whether it's because we were in unsafe situations or because we felt unsafe due to our activity around addiction, we learn to be extremely observant of our environment and the people in it. Now, when we first start in recovery, we often find that we're overwhelmed by sensory input. So sounds, sights, smells, tastes, all of those things tend to be really, really loud inside of our brain, and we're registering a lot of things happening around us that are kind of unnecessary. They're extraneous information. They're things that we're noticing. They're things that we'd rather be filtering out. And hopefully, the longer we stay clean, the longer we're moving towards greater health and improving our own mental health, the more we're able to filter some of those things out. The real key to this is developing a greater sense of safety. When we're scanning our environment continuously, we're looking for a threat. And no matter how many times we don't find a threat, it doesn't provide peace of mind, it doesn't provide security. And so we continue to be hyper aware of what's going on around us, which of course makes it very difficult to focus on the things that we most want to be doing and paying attention to. So when folks are hypervigilant, I'll ask them to just stop every so often and check in with themselves and to just tell themselves, okay, I haven't found any threat to my well-being. There's nothing in this environment that's going to hurt me. So I'm just going to provide myself with a little bit of a reassurance that things are okay, that I'm doing okay, that I'm safe and I'm well. And this takes a lot of practice. It's not easy. But through a lot of repetition, and ideally by having conversations with somebody you feel you can confide in, whether that's a friend or somebody that you know has gone through similar things, or a coach or a counselor, the more we bring these things out into the open, they become a lot easier to change. Too many of us get bogged down in the shame that is attached to those past experiences, and unfortunately, as long as we're staying in a place of shame, we can't really make any substantive changes. So, my truth, I don't think you have anything to be ashamed of. I think if you're like me, addiction took you where it took you, surviving abuse or trauma took you to some pretty dark places, and my hope is that you don't blame yourself for those things. If you had a part to play in it, taking accountability is healthy, blaming yourself is not. Beating yourself up is not. Staying stuck in this stuff is not. So, as we master hypervigilance, we have a greater sense of safety, we're able to filter out things that aren't helpful to us, but we're also able to key in on things that are. We're very observant, and if we're looking for something, if we're trying to have a greater sense of what's going on with the person in front of us, what's going on in our work, what's going on in things that we're actively pursuing, our goals, then noticing those things gives us an advantage. It gives us more information to integrate, and particularly if we're trying to work with other people, it gives us a lot more information about them. So those are all strengths, which leads us to our second topic, which is manipulation. And manipulation is one of those words that has a very negative connotation, but I don't think it has to be. So whether we're active in addiction or trying to stay safe in an unsafe environment or wrestling with any form of mental illness, We use manipulation with ourselves and with others to try to get what we need, to try to promote our own safety, and this is a set of skills. Now, granted, in the past, we use those in harmful ways. We use those to obtain drugs or money or influence or power or whatever it was that we believed we so wanted or needed at the time. This is something that can be turned very readily into a positive skill set, because positive manipulation is the attempt to evoke a really great outcome, whether that's for the benefit of other people, folks that we serve, maybe that's just doing a better job in your current occupation. In positive manipulation, nobody's getting hurt. We're using our intuition, we're using our ability to be persuasive towards positive ends. The example I usually use, I have a lot of case managers that work for me, and they're amazing people. They help folks get their basic life needs met. And the most successful case managers I've known are people who are survivors of trauma, people in recovery from addiction, or both. Because in those instances, they pursue positive outcomes and helping people get their needs met with the same tenacity that they pursued their drug of choice. And so there's no greater motivation or no more motivated people than us. We're just using that same skill to create something that's positive and healthy. And the third one I want to talk with you about today is your intuition. Growing up in unsafe families, any of the dark places that addiction took us to, the dangerous places, we learned a set of skills where we have a sense of what's happening even if we can't prove it or haven't observed it. We have what I call a gut feeling. Your gut is your intuition and your instincts telling you very basic things that are very important, like whether or not there's a threat to your well-being, whether or not this is a good person that you're interacting with, even though you're just meeting them, the type of first impression that you get, the type of sense that you have about how things are likely to play out. That's your intuition. And again, this is something that we readily use for other people's benefit, but not very often for our own. So the way I see it, what you survived to get those skills really sucked. It was really painful, it was really hard. But you have this skill set, and you can use it in a way that makes your life better, or not. It's totally up to you. I often will recommend to folks that they do a little experiment. And the experiment is this. The next big decision that you have to make, or the next change that you're going to make in your life, the next goal you're going to pursue, if you can take even just a couple of minutes and just kind of quiet your brain, slow your thoughts down, put your emotions on a shelf just for 2 minutes, and just connect to your gut, and whatever that decision is, whatever that goal is, ask your gut what's true about that, and whether or not that's what you need to be pursuing. And your gut will answer you. Your intuition will give you a sense of, yes, that's the right direction to move in, no, it's not. It won't explain things to you. That's what your brain's for. Your intuition is just your sense of how things are likely to be. So after you've connected with your gut feeling, you can then analyze it, problem solve it, think about it, drive yourself crazy with it, research it, do all kinds of things with it. Maybe that takes you weeks or even months to come to a conclusion. But I'm confident that what you'll find is that what you did in 2 minutes from your gut was a lot more efficient than any amount of thinking or any amount of problem solving or strategizing. So just try it out. Worst comes to worst, you wasted a couple of minutes. But I think what you'll find is that you have a really strong set of skills that you're not necessarily using. And I hope that if you're pursuing something positive in your life, if you're seeking greater health, if you're moving continuously away from addiction, if you're hoping to support other people in your life, then you'll see that these are all positive things that are very well worth pursuing and using every available resource, including your survival skills, to attain. So I hope that that's helpful to you. I hope that you'll email me with your questions and topics that you'd like to see covered. Jim@sobernow.com is how you reach me. Please check out the site, sobernow.com. Give the videos a like and click that subscribe button. That helps us as well. And make sure you're taking care of you. And have a great day.